So good morning, all of you. So, yesterday I explained you the first two stanzas of the poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. And in the first stanza, the poet describes the pitiable state of the children in the slum classroom. And in the second stanza, he describes the equally gloomy and sad, dismal state of the classroom in the slum. Okay, now in the third stanza, the melancholy mood of the poet, suddenly it becomes aggressive, and he blames the legendary literary figure Shakespeare of wickedness. Okay, and the map that is hanging on the wall, he considers it as a bad example for the slum children. Okay, so now I'll just read the stanza and then I'll explain it to you in detail. Surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. For lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes, from fog to endless night. On their slag heap, these children, where skins peeped through by bones, and spectacles of steel with mended glass, like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum. So blot their maps with slums as big as doom. So now we just noticed that the tone, the melancholy tone of the poet has suddenly changed, and here he's blaming Shakespeare of wickedness. Okay, now why is he blaming him? Why is he calling him wicked? This is because the wisdom of Shakespeare and the beauty of literature does not hold any value for these hungry children. The literary training is a far, far cry for them. Now here, the map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. So the map, it shows the world that is beautiful and bright. Okay, so this bright, beautiful world that is seen on the map, this arouses in the children the desire to explore this world that is created by God. So this beautiful world with the ships and the sun, and the love, and all these beautiful aspects in nature, they're all symbolic of joy and happiness. And this is something which the slum children are deprived of. So in order to reach out to this world, this beautiful world that can be seen on the map, these children are tempted to adopt wrong means to fulfill their dreams. So these dreams can only be fulfilled if if they steal, because on their own they do not have that kind of a money that can help them to explore this beautiful world that is outside. For lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes, from fog to endless night. So now so these children, they spend their entire life striving and struggling for sustenance in the small, cramped, dirty, filthy hovels. From foggy morning. So the day it starts with a foggy morning. The morning is covered with fog. Okay, because they cannot see the open sky. They're so cramped up. Their houses are so cramped up that they cannot see the clear sky, and the morning itself is covered with fog. Till late at night, the condition of these children, so till late night, these children, they make a desperate attempt to live. Their lives are full of misery, hopelessness, and never ending suffering. The suffering never seems to end. That is why the poet has used the expression endless night. On their slag heap, these children, their skins peeped through by bones. Okay, on their slag heaps. Now, slag, what does slag refer to? It refers to the garbage or the waste or the dirt. So, here it refers to the place where they live, so which is like a heap of dust. So, that is why it is said on their slab heap. So, these children here, these children are so thin. They're so thin and they're so weak that it seems as if their bones are peeping out of their skin. So this just shows that they are so malnourished. They're so starving that they don't even have their bodies are extremely frail and weak. And spectacles of steel with mended glass like bottle bits of stone. They were discarded spectacles that they must have found thrown in the garbage heap. So the cracked glasses of their spectacles look like pieces of broken bottles lying scattered on stones. So according to Spender, the lives of these children are shattered just the way a glass gets broken into small pieces when thrown on a rock or stone. Okay. Now, all of their time and space are foggy slum. So blot their maps with slums as big as dome. So the foggy, filthy slum is their world where they spend all their time. Thus, the poet Spender suggests that these maps on the walls, which usually inspire us to explore the world, should be blotted when they are put in the slum classroom. Because the only world that they know about is the slum where they live. And this slum, the life in these slums, is worse than even death. Okay, now we come to the fourth stanza of the poem. Now here in this stanza, the anger that the poet shows in the third stanza, wherein he calls Shakespeare wicked and he considers the map as a bad example. So that anger, it softens here. And here in this stanza, he makes an appeal to the governing authorities to visit these places and to improve the condition of the school. So I'll just read the stanza. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs. Break open till they break the town, and show the children to green fields, and make their world run azure on gold sands, and let their tongues run naked into books, the white and green leaves open. History theirs, whose language is the sun. So such beautiful lines. He's ended the poem so beautifully. Okay, so the poet feels that only when the governing authorities, that is the governor, the inspectors, and the higher officials visit these areas and become actively involved in the upliftment of these children, will this map that is displayed on the walls of the classroom will become their window through which they will be able to see the beauty of the outside world. And the foggy windows in their classroom that shut them and seal them in the cemeteries of slum will break. Now by catacombs we mean cemeteries. Cemeteries are what? Graves. So that means the slums where they spend most of their time, they are compared to cemeteries, okay, where these children, they slither and slog just to make ends meet. Break, oh break open till they break the town, and show the children in green fields, and make their world run azure on gold sands. So here the poet hopes that due to the active involvement of the authorities, these children would one day break free from the chains of slum and will be free to bask in the freedom of the green fields and frolic around on the golden sea beaches under the blue sky in a carefree manner. Now here azure means the blue sky. So here, okay, so and let their tongues run naked into books, and white and green leaves open. So the poet also hopes and he wishes that these children be exposed to the world of books. So he feels that only when they are educated, they will be able to break themselves free from the confines of the slums. Now the last line, history theirs whose language is the sun. So here the poet feels that people who are ignited by the fire of knowledge are the ones who create history. So here he wishes that all the forms of injustice is wiped off, and these children of the slum also through the power of knowledge create history. So that's the end of the poem. So I finished the explanation. So please see that you go through the video properly, and in the next video I'm going to discuss the various poetic devices related to this poem. Thank you.